Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Sweden, but we're going to head a little bit north for this one to Dalarna county once again, and we're going to revisit a brewery who I've been quite impressed with on previous encounters. And we've got a different style of beer to look at today, and one that I personally think is quite underrated but that I very much enjoy. So for this review then, we are going to go to a little town called Sälen over in the west of Dalarna county, and we're having a look at another beer from Sälens Fjällbryggeri, or Sälens Mountain Brewery if you want to translate that into English. This one is the Fjäll Plzner, which comes in, I believe, at 4.8% ABV. Yep, 4.8% ABV, and this was released as part of the Lokalt och Småskaligt assortment in Systembolaget in July of 2020. I think it was the 1st of July that these ones were released. But yeah, I saw this one coming through. I thought, I haven't had a beer from Sälens for a wee while. I'm going through a bit of a lager phase just now, and the name of this one, Pilsner, that kind of indicated to me, yeah, this is going to be a Czech style Pilsner beer, this one. So yeah, really curious to see how it turns out, and hopefully you guys enjoy my take on this beer. As I've told you in previous videos, I am going through a little bit of a lager phase just now. I want to review more of these beers on the channel. I really feel that this is a style that is kind of underappreciated in the craft beer world. Everyone wants to drink IPAs, but you've got some really beautiful beers in the lager category in my opinion as well. So when it comes to the lager beers, of course, you've got the Pilsners. The first Pilsner, of course, was the Pilsner Urquell, developed in what is now the Czech Republic in Pilzen by a German brewer, though. So this is a style that goes between the Czech Republic and Germany. But when it comes to lagers, usually they're low temperature fermentations. You've got various different types of these lagers. Of course, you've got the Helles, which is the kind of blonde lager, if you like, in Germany. The Czech equivalent of that is the Svetli. Then you've got the Vienna lager in Austria, which is a more amber kind of lager. The Czech equivalent of that is the Letzak. Then you have the German Dunkel, the brown lager. Czech equivalent is the Cherny. Then you've got the German Schwarzbier, which is the black lager. Then the Czech equivalent of that is the Tmavy, and all of those are very nice beers. You do have the Doppelbock, of course, as well, which is basically a very strong Dunkel beer essentially. And then you've got a few other beer styles that are quite similar. I think the Bock is a kind of lager beer. I'm pretty sure that's a low temperature fermentation, if I remember correctly. You've got the Kulsch as well. You've got the Dortmunder Helles. I don't know if the Alt beers fit into this category as well. I can't remember if they're low temperature fermentation or not actually, but yeah, all very nice styles of beer. And if you've watched the channel before, you will know that I'm a big fan of these kind of Central European traditional beer styles, if you like. My experience of the Czech ones versus the German ones is that the Czech ones tend to be a little bit more thicker and a little bit more bready, whereas the German ones, generally speaking, are a little bit crisper. But I like both of them, and I do need to try and review more traditional German and traditional Czech beers for you on the channel, and it's always nice to try some of the Swedish brewed equivalents of these. And it's not often that you actually come across a Czech style Pilsner beer here in Sweden. I've had some very good Pilsners recently from Hylia Brewery. I also had a very nice one from over in Småland as well, which was very nice. But yeah, there's some great Pilsners here in Sweden at the moment, and I'm really curious to see what this one from Sälens has before. The last beers that I've had from these guys was the White IPA, and I also had the Red IPA quite recently from them too. So my very first lager beer from this brewery. So curious to see how it turns out, and I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this one as well. Let's see how we get on. They do have a German Pilsner as well, incidentally, so I'll need to see if I can get a hold of that one and review it for you as well. So keep an eye out for that review within the next kind of couple of months. But yeah, let's see how we get on with this one then. As always with my reviews, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Sälens Fjällbryggeri before. No doubt you will see some more reviews added to that in the fairly near future. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, province, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Sälens Fjällbryggeri then, on to my brewery notes. So this brewery, as I've mentioned to you already, is based in the small town of Sälen in Dalarna county, over to the west of the county, and we're talking, you know, quite a bit to the northwest of Stockholm for Dalarna county. But the brewery itself was founded back in 2012 by Pelle Hoffman and Magnus Engström, who together own the Gustav Bar and Grill in the Lindvallen area in the town. So they also own the Hemfjällstugan and Fjällbagaren restaurants as well. Pelle had been a home brewer for a good number of years, and he actually won a number of competitions, and then this kind of inspired him to take the brewing a little bit more seriously. So he then decided that he wanted to sell his beers in the restaurants, which went down very well, and initially they were only producing very small 50-litre batches, so they were very, very prolific at trying different recipes and things like that, and the positive reaction they got in the restaurants really prompted them to invest in the brewery a little bit more, get a bottling machine and do all of this sort of thing, and then put the beers into Systembolaget. So they started off with a capacity of about 200 litres per brew when they scaled up. But they've now moved into a new premises in Lindvallen, where they've got a 2,000 litre brew kit which came from the Czech Republic, and this is going to give them an annual output of 250,000 litres of beer, and they do plan to expand this further with more fermentation tanks and things like that. I'm not sure what their fermentation capacity is, but yeah, they're operating with a 2,000 litre brew kit from what I understand. But as of July 2020, when I'm producing this review for you, they've produced somewhere in the region of 100 different types of beer. I would suspect that maybe about 15 or so of those have been made available through Systembolaget in bottles, maybe 20, something like that. Because yeah, you do see, if you check out the Systembolaget list, there are quite a few listed there. So I need to see when I can get a hold of some of the other ones. The only hesitation I have with some of these, of course, is that with the IPAs and things, you're never sure exactly how fresh they are, but this one was released as part of the local Småskalig on the 1st of July, so I know this beer is pretty fresh actually. But I will see about reviewing an IPA, and I think a regular IPA, and probably I'll need to see if I can get a stout or a porter or something from them as well, because it's only been light beers that I've tried from these guys so far. But yeah, this is review number 3. I tried the white IPA first, like a couple of years back. More recently I've had the red IPA, and now we're going to have a look at this one at the Pilzen lager, and I do want to go at the German Pilsner as well. I think that's just called the Fjäll Plzner, if I remember rightly, so I will see about ordering that one up and getting it sent down here to Skåne. But yeah, as I say, that's all I can really tell you about Sälens Fjällbryggeri for the moment. If you want to learn a little bit more, you can check out the brewery website, you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with the latest goings on, and you can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about all the different beers that they've done. But yeah, these guys, one of the smaller breweries in Sweden of course, but in my experience they do some very, very nice beers, and this is one of the things that I love about the Swedish craft beer scene. The home brewing culture has been so strong here for years that you know, you'll find gems basically from some of these very, very small breweries, and I have been impressed with these guys so far. So yeah, let's see how we get on with this one then. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open up. There you can see it's almost you know, it's, you know, very, very Swedish style artwork on this one, I have to say. You know, I forget what you call these, but these kind of mounted things that you put, you know, the deer's head, the moose's heads on the walls and things like that. But yeah, you can see it's got a little bit of German to it, which a little bit of that kind of German Czech sort of thing, which is kind of what you would expect when it's this beer style. But a nice little 330ml bottle, this one, and there you can see the Sälens Fjällbryggeri bottle cap on this one. On the side here it tells you a little bit about the brewery itself. So it says this is a little brewery that is based in Lindvallen and Sälen. We were founded in 2012 and we have our roots in the home brewing tradition. The Fjäll Plzner is our variant of a Czech style Pilsner, brewed with Czech malted. Czech produced, if you like, Pilsner malt, Czech hops and fresh mountain water. I think I've translated that pretty well, but yeah, there you can have a little look at the original Swedish. I'm not sure exactly what Golv malt, I think that's floor malt, is it not? Golv malted, maybe floor malted Pilsner malt, so yeah, pretty cool. But yeah, 4.8% Czech style Pilsen in this one. I'm not sure why, if the Czechs would call it a Pilsner like this, or if they would call it a Pilzen beer, because the city of course is Pilzen. The German name for it was Pilsner, so that's why the Germans call it Pilsner and the Czechs call it Pilzen. So yeah, I'm not sure if it should be Pilzen I would need to check that. But yeah, we'll give, you know, it's called Pilsner, so it's maybe meant to just kind of make people recognise it. I'm not quite sure about that, but yeah, I have to say I do like the artwork on this one. You will find similar artwork on all of the Sälens Fjällbryggeri beers. They do, they are just different colours depending on what one you get. But yeah, let's get this guy out then and we'll get on with the tasting. I think I paid maybe 25 or 30 Swedish kroners for this one. I left the receipt through in the kitchen, so I could tell you, but I can't remember just now, and I don't really want to have to edit the video. Doesn't matter too much, but yeah, you will pay about 25 or 30 Swedish kroners for this beer. Which, yeah, for a nice lager beer, don't resent paying that at all. So 25 Swedish kroners is about £2 about €2.50. So yeah, for a craft brewed Pilsner, decent price, I think. It's one of the great things about Systembolaget. A lot of people complain about it, but personally I do quite like it because it keeps the prices of the beer down, plus we can get things from all over Sweden in the local store. I really like the local releases that we have every month. So yeah, as you can see with this one, and as you would expect from a Pilsner, Pilzen style beer, this one's poured a lovely kind of pale golden straw colour. It actually has a degree of haze to it. Even if I wipe the little bit of condensation off the side of the glass that we have here, it does retain a little bit of haze to it. You could see that there was about a half finger of a frothy white head on it. That's just fading away to be a very thin foamy layer, but I would say that this is a pure white head. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little ones going up towards the bottom of that head there, but you know, overall it does look pretty nice. But if we shine the light through this one, it's got a lovely kind of bright yellow colour to it. But yeah, it looks very, very nice, this one, and pretty much what you would expect. Sometimes the Pilsners can be a little bit darker in their yellow colour than this, sometimes they can be quite bright. You know, I would say this, and it actually reminds me quite a bit of, you know, a Helles, or you know, it reminds me quite a little bit of, say for example, a Helles or a Svetli lager. But yeah, this one I think looks very, very nice. So yeah, one of the hazier Pilsners I've come across, I have to say, but I'm sure that's not going to affect it too much. But yeah, let's have a look at the aroma then and see how we go on. Nothing overly surprising about this beer in terms of its appearance when you consider what style it is. So yeah, ooh, that does smell very, very nice. Yeah, I mean, the main thing, of course, when we talk about the German Pilsner, the Czech Pilzen, the main thing would just be the flavours that you get out of them. The malts, the Czech malts will taste slightly different, and the Sats hop will taste a little bit different from the Hallertau and the Tettnanger. If I remember rightly, the Czech ones are just a little bit more spicy than the Hallertaus and the Tettnanger. The Sats hops, or Žatec as the Czechs call it. But yeah, this one does smell very, very nice. It's very, very authentic, which is what you want. When it comes to these styles of beer, when you're tasting them, you are going to rate them on the level of authenticity. But yeah, with this one, you've got a lovely bit of a kind of bready base to this one. You can smell that nice kind of white bready quality in there. You do get a little bit of that crispness from the Pilsner malt. Pilsner malt I've always found is a very hard thing to describe in terms of aroma. You smell the crispness of it. It's almost a little bit kind of astringent and almost slightly aromatic in a way. Pilsner malt for me, it always has that kind of astringent-y, aromatic-y type thing, and it almost just smells a little bit like a kind of wet white bread actually. So yeah, you've got a smooth kind of straight up white bread, a more sort of wheaty white bread out of it, but you've also got that kind of crisp Pilsner-y type malt coming out of it as well, that kind of crisp aromatic-y, astringent-y type thing. There's also a little bit of a kind of biscuity quality to this one, like a McVitie's digestive level kind of thing. It's not too sweet, it's just a little touch of sweetness in it. But yeah, you've got the kind of bready base, if you like. As I say, a little bit of the wetter bread from the kind of Pilsner-y qualities. Wee bit of that kind of, definitely a little touch of the, of a kind of biscuity malt to this one too. But yeah, you've also got, there's also one or two very, very slightly, you know, woody undertones to the beer as well, but that's very, very, very minimal. But the beer, I will say, smells very, very clean. As I've told you in previous reviews, you know, being Scottish, I'm quite sensitive to water quality and things, and one of the great things about the Swedish beers, when you start to go further north, you will taste that in the different beers. You get it with Opigårds, you get it with the likes of Ora Brewing Company as well. They were one that I reviewed recently that have this same thing, and I remember the Sälens beers feeling like very clean because of the quality of the water that you have as well. So what you'll quite often get with some of these Swedish brewed and Norwegian and Icelandic variants of beers is that they do just feel a bit cleaner owing to the quality of water that they have. And that's not to take anything away from the German water, but you know, you get a lot more minerals and stuff in the water and things up here in Sweden. But yeah, I really like how the aroma of this one comes across. The malt base has everything you'd expect. On the hoppy side of things, again, it's what you'd expect. You've got a little touch of earthiness in there, kind of a nice smooth earthiness. You've got quite a bright floral aromaticity coming out of this beer. It's not kind of as pungent as you like as you'll get from some of the IPAs and things, the very high alpha acid hops. If I remember rightly, the Žatec Sats hops are, you know, around 5.5% alpha acid. You know, they're kind of around that sort of level. But yeah, you've got a lovely bit of a lighter grassiness to it as well. And on the fruity side of things, I mean, again, it's quite typical. You've got a little bit of that perry ester in there. There's maybe a wee tiny touch of like an apricot or something in there too. And then you've got a bit of the kind of grassy, lemony type citrusy zest coming out of it too. So yeah, maybe perry, a little touch apricot-y, and you've also got a little bit of that. You've also got a little bit of the just a little bit of a slightly lemon lime, maybe light, maybe even a little touch of a limey, citrusy note coming out, and that's the grassy elements of the Žatec Sats hops coming out of this one. But yeah, I would say when I think about this one, I said earlier that Czech beer is a little bit more bready. That kind of makes sense from this aroma. You do get a bit more of a kind of straight up white bread out of this one rather than that very light kind of white bready, that kind of light wet bready thing that you'd normally just get from Pilsner malt. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is a bit of pale malt in this one as well as the Pilsner malt. But yeah, I think this one is going to be pretty damn nice actually. It certainly smells very, very authentic. So take a bit of time to enjoy that before you get stuck in. We are going to have a taste of this one now. So this one is the Fjäll Plzner from Sälens Fjällbryggeri in Sälen in the western part of Dalarna county. Quite a bit to the north of me here in Lund in Skåne in the south of the country. Let's get stuck into this one. Slange, it's got a Czech style Pilsen at 4.8% ABV. Oh yeah, that is pretty damn nice, I have to say. It's very, very smooth. That's the other thing with this, yeah. So this one is quite interesting. It really has, as I said, and as I was suspecting from the aroma, this one's got a lovely bready backbone to it. As I said earlier, you know, the Czech beers, they are distinctively more bready. So this one, it really does taste like a Pilsner that you're going to find there. I do remember the original ones, like, you know, the Pilsner Urquell, of course. When we talk about Czech beers, we're always going to talk about Pilsner Urquell and things like that, of course. But this one is distinctively even a little bit more kind of bready than that. And I mean, in fairness, that is quite a commercialised beer. But if you think about you know, for example, if you look at the Pilsners and things that you're going to find in the little brew pubs, the numerous little brew pubs that you'll find around the Czech Republic, this one is actually very reminiscent of one of those. It's got that bready quality you expect of the Czech beer, but it's got the kind of nice crispness and cleanliness, if you like, that you expect of the style as well. Because that's the main difference for me between the Helles and the Svetli and then the Pilzen style, is that these ones are just a little bit more kind of crisp and light, actually. So yeah, interesting, this one, I have to say. Yeah, this is right, so this gets a big thumbs up from me. And you know, this is another like solid lager beer. I like the fact that, you know, more and more breweries are starting to try brewing lagers now, because it is quite it's a lot more complicated technically to brew a good lager beer than it is to brew an ale. And of course, a lot of people say, oh, the IPAs and things like that, these give you so much more flavour, blah blah blah. But to be able to brew a good lager like this, you know, it speaks volumes for the technical ability that these guys have got. I think I'm definitely going to stick the Fjäll Plzner in the basket on Systembolaget now, and take that as part of my August local order, because they've done a lovely job of this one, I have to say. Big thumbs up to Sälens Fjällbryggeri for this. This is very nicely done. So yeah, it doesn't do anything surprising, but it is just well crafted in my mind. So let's try and break the flavour of this one down a bit then. So middle of your palate, you can feel that nice kind of pale malty base, that blankets the middle of the palate there. As you go further towards the back third of your tongue, you'll start to get the more kind of slightly astringenty, kind of crispy notes, if you like, aromatic notes from the Pilsner malt. You can feel that at the very back of the palate, but you can also feel some of the bready notes. They just thicken up a little bit and you get a little touch of graininess on that back third of your tongue. But as you move into the middle third of your tongue, you've got that lovely kind of smooth, white bready base to this one. In terms of everything else that's going on there, it's almost like you've got a little kind of island in the middle of your palate, if you like. You get a little kind of circle, to be honest with you. If you go to the very centre of your tongue, you will almost be forgiven for thinking there is a little touch of caramel to it, but as you move further out from the centre of it, it gets a little bit more biscuity, like McVitie's Digestive-y, and grainy, to be honest with you. So yeah, I really like how this one, I do like how this one goes together. As I said, it gets a big sort of thumbs up from me. To me, this one, it really is, I'd really love to see the contrast between this and the German one that they did, because as I say, I've always felt the German beers are just more crisp than the Czech ones, because this one does actually have quite an oily mouthfeel to it. We won't go too much into that just now, because we always do the mouthfeel last, because I think that takes a bit of time to develop and assess properly. But yeah, the malt base in this one is getting a little bit thicker. I think the breadiness sort of thickens up a little bit the more and more that you drink of this beer, but you can feel a little bit of the crisp Pilsner malt kind of, the Czech Pilsner malt just pushing its way up a little bit more actually. I'd be very curious to know if the bready thing, if it's the bready thing that you have with Czech beers, is it a conscious thing that they brew the beers to be like that and it's just something that's stuck, or is it the way the malt is made? I'd be curious to know exactly what's responsible in Czech brewing for that bigger breadiness that the beers have actually. So if you are more technically knowledgeable in the brewing than I am, and you know something about that, do let me know in the comments section below. But yeah, as I say, this one, it strikes me, it's definitely one of the thicker kind of Pilsner, Pilzen style beers that I've had. I would definitely say that. It is very reminiscent of a lot of the ones you'll get in these very small breweries actually. So just yeah, just be aware of that, and just be aware of that with this one. This is quite nice, but it's quite different. I really like this. This is something a wee bit different actually. I like it that they've gone out of the way specifically to brew a Czech style Pilsner rather than just calling it a Pilsner, to be honest. So really like that about this. So yeah, hoppy side of things then. Back corners of the palate, you've got a nice little touch of earthiness there. As you move further forward along the sides of the tongue, the earthiness just smoothens out a little bit, almost becomes a wee touch herbal, but then as you reach the front corners of the palate, it gets a nice little bit of floral aromaticity coming out of it, and it's quite bright actually. Round the very front curve of the tongue, it's a little bit lighter and more grassy, I would say, definitely. But yeah, the floral, the Czech Saaz hops, they are giving you that little bit more kind of spicy note, but at the same time, you've got a lovely brightness to the hoppy characters on this one as well. On the front third of your tongue, you've got a nice little oily bubble where the fruity esters kind of roll their way out of the beer. If you go towards the back of that, you do get a little bit of a kind of stronger citrusy note, but as you kind of progress forward, you get a little bit of an apricot-y kind of quality coming out of this one, a little bit of a pear as well, and then as you reach the very kind of front part of your tongue, it's a little bit more, there is a bit of a kind of limey, almost gooseberry quality coming out of this too. So it's got a really nice little touch of fruitiness to it for me. You do get, as I say, you get the darker citrusy notes coming out of it at the back of the palate too. So I mean, I really like how this one goes together. So yeah, this does get a thumbs up from me. I really like this one. Quite a bready and thick Pilsner, Pilzen style beer, I guess you could say. So yeah, give this one a try for yourself and just see what you think. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would definitely say that this beer is mid-bodied. The carbonation is very smooth. For a Pilsner style beer, it's definitely one of the more oily ones that I've come across, and I'm not sure if that is just the water or if it's the malt or whatever, but I will say that the flavour of this is bang on. It's bang on. It's exactly what you'd expect from for this style of beer. But on the hoppy side of things, I think we're looking, it's very low IBUs this. I think we're only looking about 20-ish IBUs for this beer, but there's nothing wrong with that. You do get quite a bit of flavour out of the hops. The malt base, like I say, very smooth, a little bit of thickness to it, and you've got some nice, how do you say, some nice kind of juicy fruity qualities coming out of this one. But later on, the fruit is quite oily in this as well, and it does kind of fade away a little bit the further that you go into the aftertaste as well. But a lovely take on the Czech Pilzen beer, this one, and I would recommend that if you like this style, you have a go at it. As I say, at the moment I'm really enjoying reviewing these lager beers and getting more into the styles, so do give me some more recommendations of these in the comment section below. But you will see me review the German Pilsner from these guys at some point in the next kind of month or two. That's something that I definitely want to do. But yeah, let's leave it at that. Once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Sälens Fjällbryggeri as well. This one's a really lovely kind of bready and slightly thicker Czech style Pilsen, compared to the German Pilsners and stuff that you're going to find. But yeah, another great beer from Sälens Fjällbryggeri, and I will be keeping an eye on what these guys are putting out there over the next little while. I think the next one, as I say, will probably be the German Pilsner, and I do hope that I can get a stout or something from these guys to take a look at as well. But thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. This one was the Fjäll Plzner, coming in at 4.8% ABV from Sälens Fjällbryggeri up in the western part of Dalarna here in Sweden. Slange, skull, catch you guys very soon. Cheers.